Good morning. It is Friday and we are live. Day 8, or if you like, week 2 of our 30-day challenge. Now, I know from experience of doing these challenges that there are going to be people who are doing things, but they're staying in the background. And I also know that those people who actively participate tend to stick with things for a little bit longer. Not always. So although there are not very many comments in here, I am hoping that people are actually watching the videos and taking steps to make sure that they're implementing the challenges. So what I would love to know is how many of you are staying with your first challenge and giving yourself more time to embed what you need to be doing. And how many of you have decided that you feel, do you know what? Got that challenge cracked. I've got my sleep sorted. I'm going to bed at the same time and I'm getting up at the same time every day. I've got a routine. I'm winding down. I've got my sleep hygiene sorted out and I'm ready to move on. Or I'm no longer snacking. It's done. It's a thing of the past. It's history. I'm going to keep that going, obviously, but I'm ready to move on. If that's you, woohoo, brilliant, well done. Because what I wanted to kind of share with you today is having an idea of what does success look and feel like for you, because it's different for everybody. And I know that there is so much garbage out there on the internet. It used to really get me cross and annoyed. Since having a heart attack, I now no longer let these things annoy me. I just go, okay, that's interesting that people are still coming out with that old claptrap. And that's kind of as much as it bothers me, because I know that the more stuff gets repeated over decades, the more people believe it's true. And because nobody has helped said people to get better educated and discover that this claptrap is not true, they're going to keep spouting the same stuff. And you hear it from parents, from teachers, from schools, from religious groups, all kinds of stuff. You hear the same stuff that's actually not true. It's based on no scientific evidence. And a lot of what is out there now that people still believe is true has been debunked and proved untrue multiple times. But here's the thing, people don't want to hear that. Do you know why? Because it suits them to believe the old stuff, because it lets them off the hook, or it allows them to take longer to do stuff. In other words, it allows them to stay comfortable. And if we're going to set ourselves up for success, what I want us to look at, we've talked about language and how we think about making changes. And if you believe that change is hard, because you've seen it everywhere and people repeat change is hard, then you're going to believe that change is hard. And if you believe that change is hard, guess what? It's going to be hard. Why? Because you are setting yourself up to make it so. So if you want to set yourself up for success, what do we need to be saying? What do we need to be doing? What do we need to be thinking differently? Well, here's the thing. Change actually isn't hard. It might be uncomfortable, and it is, because your brain likes stuff to feel familiar and comfortable. Why? Because your brain is designed to keep you safe. So it likes you to do the stuff that you know. And therefore, when you do the stuff that you don't know, it is uncomfortable. Morning, Claire. Morning, Julia. What I want you to recognize is that uncomfortable is just that. It's just uncomfortable. It's not hard unless you decide, oh my God, uncomfortable is just so terrible and it's awful and I can't bear it. In which case you're making uncomfortable really hard, and it doesn't have to be. It's just a feeling. And it will pass if you stop focusing on it and start focusing on what you can do that's different. Because if you keep focusing on something, and I've said this before, where your focus goes, grows. The more you think about it, the bigger it gets. And all of a sudden, this thing that wasn't really that big a thing has now become this massive thing that you feel is a huge block, and it's not. In your guidebook, I asked you to look at the obstacles that you think will come up. And a lot of the time, the obstacles that come up are the stuff that we hear from other people or the stuff that we believe ourselves. And if we want to set ourselves up for success, we need to understand that change is uncomfortable and it takes effort. Now, if you associate effort with hard, then yes, change is going to be hard. But if you associate effort with getting you closer to where you truly want to be and worth it, in other words, when you associate effort with a positive thing, then actually you're going to embrace change. And that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. That is what I talk about when I put the title of this video, it's setting yourself up for success. Because if we just know that change just means you're going to be uncomfortable for a little while, because the familiar will make you feel that way. But the more you repeat something, the more familiar it gets, the less uncomfortable it's going to be. And that's how we change our habits. And the only reason that stuff feels comfortable or uncomfortable is because you keep repeating it. It's as simple as that. Think about it. If you always sit with your arms crossed that way round, and I now say to you, in fact, do it. Why not? Let's do it. Let's sit. Let's cross our arms that way round. Right? That you'll have done that without thinking about it. Why? Because it's familiar and therefore your brain has automated it along with your nervous system, which tells the muscles what to do. Now, if I ask you to cross your arms the other way around, first of all, you might have to think about how do I even do that? And now you've done it, feels weird. Yes. Is weird uncomfortable? Well, it might be. Or is it just weird? Is it just different? And this is the thing. Now, if we stay here with the arms crossed the other way around, right, it doesn't take long for you to forget because you're listening to me and you're not thinking, hopefully, about, oh, that feels really odd. My finger's odd. It's not normally on that arm. It's normally underneath. If you're overthinking it, now you're going to be really focusing on it. But if you're listening to what I'm saying and you're forgetting, right, if I ask you to focus on your big toe, now you're not thinking about your arms. So what I want you to recognize is that when you set yourself up for success, it's about this. It's not just about what you are doing. It's about what you're telling yourself about what you are doing. There is this so oft repeated garbage about habit change that it takes 21 days to change a habit, and I've lost count of the amount of times that I've seen that. Like this claptrap, right? Because it's based upon something that's been quoted, requoted millions and millions of times, and it was said by somebody who is not a neuroscientist. It's just somebody whose experience and observation was this in a particular experiment that this person did, right? And there is more to that sentence, right? But that's the only bit that gets quoted. It's a bit like the quote that comes so often from when we landed on the moon. Yeah, it's that there was more to that quote, but people leave the end bit off. Right. So it doesn't take 21 days to change a habit. That is just spouted garbage that people keep repeating. And when we repeat something often enough, we believe it's true, even when it's not. Now, if you want to go sciencey and nerdy, right, the truth is you can change a habit overnight because it depends what the habit is. And it depends how long you've had it for. And it depends how powerfully attached you are to the story behind the habit. So to say it takes 21 days to change a habit is absolute bunkum. Okay, so this is why, I used to get annoyed. Now I just laugh at this stuff because I can't believe that people are still saying it when we know it's so not true. Now, there is scientific research that has been done on certain things that say actually the average time that they found that people take to change a habit is 66 days. However, still goes back to what was the habit? How long have they had it for? What are the associations with it? What is it giving the person? And how attached to that habit are they? Because if somebody doesn't want to let that habit go and is fighting for their limitations and really wants to hang on to it because they believe that life will just be too hard without it, then the chances of them taking longer than 66 days are very, very high. Right? But if somebody's not that attached to it and they've not been doing it for very long, then they can probably change it literally within a day or so. You need to allow yourself to look at how do you think and feel about the habits that you've got. And we're coming back to awareness, and it always comes back to that. We can't change anything unless we actually know what it is that we're doing and why we are doing it. What is the story that we're telling ourselves? So going back to how I started this, where are you? It's day 8. Are you realizing that actually you haven't automated and embedded the first challenge that you decided to do? And if that's the case, look at what is making it a challenge for you. What are you saying in your head? If it's the movement challenge, were you expecting yourself to do more than what I suggested, more than 10 minutes a day if you're somebody who was not moving on a regular basis? Because if you were, then you probably set yourself up to fail. If you decided that you were so energized after day 1 or day 2 that you were doing everything and then you wiped yourself out, you learn from it. You don't fall out with yourself and go, well, that's it, it's too hard. Okay, this is not all or nothing. And if that is your thinking, we need to shift that, not in 66 days, immediately, right? Because it's a choice. There is no such thing as all or nothing thinking. There is always options. There are always alternatives. So my suggestion would be that for the majority of you, if you know that you don't feel yet that you have got your movement consistent, you're doing it on a daily basis, you've worked out where it fits in, and it might be different times on different days, but you are fitting it in, I would suggest that you keep on going with that and just keep on working out, actually, am I getting it in? Am I telling myself I can miss a day here, and am I telling myself I can miss a day there? If so, why? Is that helpful to me to believe what I'm telling myself? These are the questions I want you to ask yourself. If it's the sleep thing, realistically, it is Christmas. There are Christmas parties happening. So the chances of you going to bed and getting up at the same time every single day, if you've got events and parties going on, isn't realistic. But can you do it 80% of the time? Probably. There's no reason why not. Your body loves consistency. The same with your food. If you chose the not snacking challenge, right? If you are finding that you're still snacking, look at what is driving you towards it. Is it that you are still being restrictive in your portion sizes in your meals? If so, trust your body and trust yourself. Increase the amount of protein, because that's the thing that will keep you fuller for longer. And make sure that you don't have the snacks around in your eyesight that you know are the things that you keep turning to. So this is a case of getting to know yourself without judgment and making it so that you are setting yourself up for success. So I'd love to know if you have found any of this helpful. What I am going to be doing is sending you an email. I'm going to be sending it to land in your inbox tomorrow rather than today, because it's still a working day. And this is based on the assumption that you've got more time over the weekend to maybe go through things. I don't know if you have or not, but I'm going to be sending you an email through that will just be doing a quick recap on the videos that you can do maybe a catch up on, and just help yourself to feel that you are on track. There is no getting behind in this challenge. This is your challenge, and you will take from it what you need because you're ready to hear it. You won't take on board all of it, and I'm not expecting you to. That is not the point. This is about you progressing and taking what you need for where you're at right now. And hopefully that is what you are doing. So on that note, here's to a successful Friday. Please focus on the one thing that I've said absolutely sets us all up for success for every day. It's gratitude, it's hydration, it's breathing in through your nose, not through your mouth. It's allowing yourself to just stop and ask yourself questions before you do things, and question, do I really need to be doing this right now? And if so, who am I doing it for? What's the outcome going to be? Because sometimes we do stuff just because it's what we've always done, and it's not necessarily in our best interests. So set yourself up for success today, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.